Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Tone's Market Analysis. Today is Thursday, January 19th. I apologize for not being able to do one of these videos earlier this week over the weekend. I really wanted to, but it was so hectic down in Miami with the hackathon, which was great, and then the conference and not having my own nice Airbnb that I usually get in countries where the dollar goes a long way. Miami was a little bit more expensive, so I didn't really have any good setups. And just busy streaming, creating content. I filmed 5 episodes of my new podcast called Crypto Scam, and I'm going to be releasing those as of next week. Just want to do a few edits on those videos. Cut out the beginnings that didn't start right, and I'm still new to the whole video and blogging thing and streaming. I may start streaming on Exotica or Audica. I was talking to those guys there, and I did fill in for Bitcoin Uncensored, so definitely check that out. Okay, let's do a quick show today. I have not looked at the markets. I have not really traded while I was away, just so busy. It's not a good idea. Sometimes I think that I would be much better off just trading and not doing all these things with Bitcoin and events and even blogs because it does take away. There's only so much time in the day to pay attention to everything and trying to do so much. But administrative note, my next event will be February 6th in Toronto. Really looking forward to that. There will be about 300 to 400 people. It's only $10 Canadian for the event put on by Sunny Ray and of Uno Coin and a few other people in Toronto. So that would be in a few weeks. I will try to do my next video this Sunday, but between the football playoffs and I am going away this weekend, we'll see. I'll try. If not, it'll come out. The next video will be on Monday. All right, let's just jump right into the show. I'll probably talk more about Acapulco, which is my next trip, on my next video. I'll prepare a little more for that. Let's just jump right into it and talk about the markets. I've barely been paying attention to the markets, but I am still short the S&P 500 as a real position. And as you can see, I am almost back to break even. My entry was 2260. So I thought this was, we didn't get the pullback that I wanted. So I keep just moving these arrows around. So maybe I'll get this. Oh, wait, that's not what I wanted to move. All right, interesting. How do I get there? I should send this to the back. Visual order. There it is. Send to back. Perfect. And now I can get these arrows here. So I'll be moving the arrows. It's getting a little cluttered here, but let's clone this. And it's just not pulling back. So I keep trying. I keep waiting for it to pull back. The problem is the 50-day average, the 50-day moving average is coming up. So I'm still looking for that pullback. It's just, it might not be as clean as I'd like. So again, I'm still short-term short the S&P 500. As you can see, the momentum, the RSI is coming down, the MACD is coming down. So this pullback may not even, this low may be in. This can stay flat for another month or so. Just everyone's waiting on Trump's inauguration. He's going to have some more nominations for the Supreme Court. That's the big one. We'll see what he wants to do with the Fed, what he wants to do with the Treasury Secretary, the Department of Justice. I haven't even kept up with any of it. I've just been in the Bitcoin world with the events and the hackathon. But I remain short-term short the S&P 500. My position almost exited, but I held out. If we had closed at the top of this candle on the 6th of January, I would have exited this position, but we didn't close, and I try not to let the wicks of candles take me out. Here's the weekly view. Again, I saw this doji, and this was my sell signal. I understand that the first week of January, we kind of went and closed above the doji, but it was so briefly above the doji that, and my daily charts didn't really scare me. So I left the short on. Obviously, we didn't pull back like I expected. So maybe I'll just slide these arrows over. I don't want to put too many arrows on this. And I'm still looking for my little pullback here. On a weekly chart, it's definitely cleaner for a bigger pullback than it is on the daily. So the Dow Jones is really, really interesting. For all this consolidation, we never closed above 20,000. And that is very, very significant. And now here's the kicker. On the S&P 500, we are still way above this low on December 29th or 30th, whatever it was, the last week of December. But the Dow Jones, as closed yesterday lower than that same candle. So the Dow Jones profile is significantly weaker than the S&P 500. And it's pretty clear that the Dow Jones is leading the way on this one over the S&P 500. And this is why I was bearish with the Dow Jones with my indicator right here. All right, let's jump onto gold. So I was long gold. My position exited where this red arrow started, just under 1,200. And I had no idea what gold did over the last week because I've been busy down in Miami. And it did go all the way to 120. And I'll glance at the weekly chart of gold in a minute. And it had this one last big day followed by a red day. Now, I do have a green 9 here followed by another green line. This bottom count is kind of screwed up, and that's what I mean. This indicator, it requires some more programming skills, which I may or may not possess. And the time is the problem. So this count is actually not correct. This 13 is not correct. I will have to either do this manually, take a look, or try and fix the code. I'm still trying to program this indicator correctly. You had a 9 that's a sell signal. You have another 9 that's a sell signal. And I am kind of taking these seriously. And if you combine these two candles, this green and red, creates this giant shooting star. I know this is not conventional, but a big day of buying followed by a big day of selling is bearish. Had I been paying attention to gold, I probably would have shorted gold yesterday, or I guess earlier today, but I really wasn't paying attention that much. So right now, I might actually put a trade in tomorrow morning or today and short gold as of 1210. The better trade I would like to make is shorting gold below 1200, but because my positions are small and very highly speculative, I want to get the best risk reward ratio I can. And I don't have a position on gold yet, so I don't want to put my stop loss and forward-looking expectation. But I would consider going short gold at around 1210. This is not trading advice, by the way. This is just what I'm doing. You guys do whatever you like. So I am considering shorting gold at around 1210 with a stop loss being at around 1220. Basically a close above the highs. But my reward is at least the 50-day moving average, which is still declining, and probably back to new lows. So my reward profile off of this short at 1210 is pretty damn steep when my risk is only $10 in the price of gold. So this is a trade that I'm considering, and I'll either set an order overnight, or maybe I'll wait till the morning and see what's up. Here's the weekly profile on gold, and obviously these arrows were a little bit wrong, but the spirit of the arrows was perfectly correct. And I haven't changed this arrow in over a month. That's why you see all these candles. I pretty much called the bottom. I didn't really take the trade that low. I took the trade a little bit higher, but this ended up going a little bit higher, and that's okay. We broke through the first Fibonacci and went to the other. So maybe I'll even remove this arrow because I don't want to change it at this point and make it look like I predicted exactly how high it would go. But what I am going to do is I'm going to stick this red arrow here. Now, there's one little caveat. As you can see, the moving averages are crossing in a bullish way, but I don't think that's going to last. I think these are going to roll over. And there's a huge cluster right here of resistance, and that cluster is at a nice round 1250. So it is also very possible that gold can go to 1250 before reversing and going back down. I am still bearish gold long term, medium term, let's put it that way. But short term, it can go higher. So even if I take on a short trade here at 1210 on gold, I will cover this trade above 1220 and then maybe take the long to 1250 or just wait to 1250 and then try to short again. We did hit the oversold on the RSI, so we can have a bounce. Do I think we're going to go all the way up here? Probably not, because that would mean new highs. And if gold does go to new highs and it closes above this Fibonacci line, I will be very, very wrong in my predictions. And I will have to reconsider the possibility of the 1244 being the low from 3 years ago, and now we're ready to go higher to all-time highs. So as of now, I'm still looking for sub 1,000, but everything will change. My entire risk profile will change with a weekly or preferably a monthly close above 1,400. I know there is a huge room here, but that's trading. It's not easy, guys. It's very difficult. All right, oil. The TLDR on oil is that it's just the daily chart on oil is very useless, completely useless. And I've been this is my position. I am still long oil. I entered it unreasonably late. I was supposed to enter this position back here, but this is before I decided in entering these positions to begin with. So, I mean, I have no reason to run and get scared of this trade because we're still above my stop loss. So I'm holding on to the long and we'll see what happens. And the reason I'm holding on to the long is because of the weekly pattern. And I think that this head and shoulders can still be realized with a move in oil into the $70 range. So for now, we're just pulling back a little bit, but the 50 days coming up. So I would, obviously, it didn't go up like this arrow suggested. We had a few rough weeks, and I talked more about the fundamentals of oil. But look at the momentum. Your RSI is still trending upwards. Your MACD is still trending upwards. There really isn't that much to worry about yet. I will worry about oil once we start closing below the $50 range, and we're still at 51.5. Okay, so I'm gonna close all of these in order to free up some memory. And let's jump to currencies. Restore all. There we go. So while that loads. Yeah, so I don't have any fundamentals. I'm actually behind on a lot of my emails. I still get a lot of tips and a lot of emails from the Wall Street world. I fall behind on that. There's some blogs that I follow, or not follow, just pay attention to, that I'm behind on. Also my chat groups, my small proprietary trader groups that have nothing to do with Bitcoin, which is I get some information and some charts from there. So I'm way behind on those. So I'll try and catch up for the next video. This is Bitcoin. This wasn't even the one I was going to load. I was going to talk about currencies first. All right, I'm going to open up currencies, and hopefully this isn't too much of a memory drain. Live viewers, so let me know if there is a memory drain or something is lagging. All right, still loading a little bit here. All right, here we go. Here we go. Finally. All right, here's the US dollar. The US dollar has been pulling back. Now, as regular followers know, I am pretty bullish on the US dollar, but it's having a bit of a pullback, and we're now below the 50-day moving average, and that's okay. And we are having bearish countdowns here. We had a bearish 9, and we're working on a second bearish 9, but I still think this is temporary, and the dollar will bounce back. Here's the weekly view of the dollar. Everything else seems to have loaded, so this is really my last chart. This is a slightly longer view of the dollar, and on a grand scheme of things, this current pullback isn't much. I was kind of expecting it to stay above the 101 area, but the 100 is a nice round number, and 100 has been prior resistance, so it's very clean. So if we pull back to 100, and then I guess I'll just move this arrow over, I am expecting the dollar to go back to all-time highs. Okay, here is the euro, and this is the daily chart of the euro. So as the dollar is falling, the euro is obviously going up, and the daily chart of the euro isn't really telling us anything. So let's take a look at the weekly. And the weekly isn't all that strong. We are pulling back up, and my ultimate high on this pullback of the euro is back to the 1.10 area. And where it will meet the 50-day moving average. So I guess I'll leave that arrow. I don't want to, backwash or anything, but I will clone it. And oh, no, wrong one. And I'm not even going to put a green arrow there. I'm just going to put another red arrow because I would never risk going long the euro at any point because I think that's just a bug waiting for a windshield. I don't know where I got that quote from, but I definitely didn't make it up. Here's the pound, and this made I kind of screwed up on the pound. I didn't think that I thought this was the ultimate low. It probably was the ultimate low, but we came pretty close to it. And this was that huge day. I didn't even know this happened. I guess this is today or yesterday, the 16th. Why isn't this updating? Oh, this is a weekly. Sorry. So this is the week of the 16th. So this is this week. So at some point this week, the pound had a jump. Here's the euro versus the pound. So here's the trade that I totally botched. And I'm going to remove this because I exited this trade. I was short the euro against the pound. I expected the euro to decline while the pound appreciated because I think the euro is still way overpriced and the pound is currently way underpriced. And this trade was a loss, so I'm going to delete this, delete my markings of my trade, and it went here. So this is still the head and shoulders pattern. I keep meaning to draw it up. I'm not going to do it now because it'll take too long. But yeah, if this was the top of the right shoulder, I missed it. I thought this was the top of the right shoulder, so I was a little premature. So there's a very good chance. I'll just throw an arrow on here real quick. Make this arrow red. So I think there is a good chance that this is the top. And we now do this. And I may take this trade again, but there's a reason why I don't trade currencies, so I probably won't. I'm going to glance at the Canadian dollar only because my next trip out of the country is to Canada, and I'm very, very curious. Now, this looks bad because the dollar's been falling on, I think this is the weekly chart. It is the weekly chart. So where's my dollar weekly? Or did I close it already? Yeah, so the dollar weekly has been falling, but the Canadian dollar against the US dollar is also falling. So this is not good for Canada. Great for me because I'm going to Canada. So I would love to get, in 2 weeks, if we go back to these highs here, get $1.35 Canadian per $1 USD. That'd be great. Over to Canadian dollar continue with more pain. And just taking a glance at Mexico, because a few weeks after Canada, I will be going to Mexico. So it's good to keep an eye on it. And I hope there aren't like monster riots in Mexico with the currency problem, because I don't even know how bad it can get, but we're looking at 21.9, and it'll probably be above 22 by end of the week, maybe even 23 by the time I get there at the end of February for an Acapulco. So yeah, so keeping an eye on this. I don't want to pull up the monthly chart now. Maybe I'll do it closer to me actually going to Mexico. Yeah, it's gonna be. I'm gonna enjoy Mexican food. I'll probably eat too much Mexican food because it'll be incredibly cheap for me coming in there with dollars. I'm also an idiot. Every time I go to these countries, I keep bringing a bunch of their local currency home. So I literally have like 50 or 60 US dollars worth of pesos sitting in my drawer that I'm gonna take back with me. And I'm like, I should have just exchanged it at the airport, even with a terrible exchange rate, because now it's a year later and I would have gotten way more. So I could have taken those dollars back. I do it for strategic reasons because I travel so much, and occasionally you land at an airport at 3 o'clock in the morning and all of the exchange places are closed and you need to take a cab. Uber is making this easier, but not every airport has Uber. So sometimes when you land at an airport at 3 a.m., it's really hard to exchange currencies, and then you're kind of stuck till morning. I know that's happened to me, which is why I always make sure I have local currency. If I've been to that country before, I come back with that local currency. But the US dollar is appreciating so much, it really makes you an idiot taking that foreign currency home, only to come back a year later and that currency has been devalued against the dollar by 20 to 25%. Okay, so this is currencies. I haven't done these videos in a while, so I'll probably forget some of my markets. Let's close that. All right, Bitcoin, the one you've all been waiting for. So Bitcoin had a bit of a scare, and I think I predicted it pretty well, where even on Twitter, I said when it starts to fall down at 900 would be like 860 to 900 would be a decent buyback, but 760 would be a perfect buyback. And if you look through my Twitter, you will see it that I was pointing to 760. And there's reasons for 760. That was the previous high. That's also a Fibonacci line. And it looks like we bounced perfectly off of 760. And on the weekly chart, all we have to do is get back above this Fibonacci of 915 area and close there on a weekly basis. And then we're good to go back to all-time highs. And I'm looking forward to that. All right, this is my Bitfinex channel. This is the graph that I use in all of my presentations. At my presentation on Friday, so a week ago, so before this pop, we were actually under the channel, and I drew in this arrow. I actually moved it slightly. I did have it like that. I just wanted to see it earlier today. So those that watched my presentation in Miami, and I believe it was recorded, I got to get my hands on the recording. I was very, very bullish on Bitcoin down in Miami, and the price was still in the low 800s at the time. And I was literally telling people I would be buying right then and there. And I was even telling people, hey, if you have Bitcoin to sell me, I'll literally buy it right in front of you, because I do think that Bitcoin will stay in this channel and we will go back to the top of the channel. If you look at the RSI, we went overbought. We almost got to oversold, which is great. The RSI also made a higher low from the previous low, which is nice bullish confirmation. The MACD did the same thing. Also, the MACD clearly had a higher high, and that's also confirmation that the high is clean and it's not divergence. Would have been nice to get to the top of the channel, but this channel is pretty damn steep, guys. The next time we go to the top of the channel, we're going to be in a 1500 range, and it's gonna start getting scary. I mean, people are gonna have to start making real tough decisions if Bitcoin pumps to 1500, 1700, and SegWit is not in yet. What does that mean? I mean, if SegWit was gaining better and quicker support, I would be way more optimistic about the Lightning Network and the scaling of transactions. But as long as people are fighting SegWit for reasons beyond my understanding, I'm always going to be a little bit nervous. And when Bitcoin pumps and starts to go up to 1600, 1900, without SegWit, I don't know if that's sustainable. With SegWit, I would be like, I don't tell people to buy anymore, but I would be buying if I had money, if I had a job again. So, but right now I just hold on to what I have with my savings. But I'm very bullish Bitcoin. All right, so this is my hourly chart of Bitfinex, and I didn't know what I was gonna do with it, and I didn't think there would be any cool patterns on here. But the more I look at this chart, the more interesting it is. So if you look at this, right, we made this, and I really wish I was making these videos then. I drew this arrow right on this day. And this was Friday the 13th around 10 o'clock at night. This is when I was giving my keynote presentation at the hackathon, and it was perfect. We had just broken above 825, and the price was sitting right here at 830. And I drew this cup and handle during my presentation in Miami, and I said, this is a cup and handle pattern, which I personally like. And it's telling me that there's a $75 move coming right here, 75.75. That would take us back to 915. And I said at the end of that conference, as I was drawing this arrow, I'm looking for this move over the next 72 hours. So over the next 3 days, I was looking for a move from 830 all the way to 915, which is almost 100, which is a $75 move pretty much. I mean, this is calling for under 915. It's actually calling for 905, but 915 is the real resistance. So I was calling for a $75 move over the next 72 hours. I came really close. The price started to pump exactly 72 hours later, and I was off by less than 1 day, and the price went to 910 or so. Okay, and so I was just off by 1 day, but I got my price target right. It's very difficult to get price and time. And I tweeted these out. So those that pay attention to my Twitter would have seen it. This is what I tweeted out. I tweeted out the same chart twice. So the first time I tweeted it out, let me actually save the way it looks now. So the first time I tweeted it out, I actually didn't tweet it out at the hackathon. I'll show you guys when I tweeted it out. And you can go back to my Twitter, and you can see that I'm not bullshitting. So I tweeted this out right around here. And I tweeted it out, and I said, I gave myself a 72-hour window to get above 900 from 830. There's 12 hours to go. And right as that 12 hours was coming in, it started to pump, and then it went up. So a bunch of people were thanking me because they did take my advice, which I never, ever recommend. And this was the pattern. This is that cup and handle pattern. You get this big cup, which is this guy here. You know what? I should have like arrows. I'll do a green arrow. So you have this guy here. This is that big cup, and this is that handle right there. So that's what I was looking at. And then you get this target of the fat part of the cup. And that's why my target was $75 up, because it was $75 down over here. And then after we went up, we started making this bullish pattern. Bullish pennant. I always have problems saying that. So this is when you get this flag up, and then you start making this triangle, and then you go up again. So this was the picture that I tweeted out, saying that we just went up 65 bucks, and then once we are working on this pennant here, we should go up $65 again, up to 950. So if I go back and I take a look at this hourly, this is when I tweeted it out right here, and within, I would say, within 2 hours of that tweet, the price started to pump, and it went all the way to about just under 915. It came up short of my 950 target. We had a little bit of a scare. I don't know why, but this didn't faze me at all. And people that saw my tweet and asked me the following day, I said, no, I'm still long. I mean, I stick to my patterns. I may not trade on my own advice, but patterns are patterns until they're proven broken. And this one would be proven broken if we go back to the 830 range. And we're back up. We're back at 900. And I'm still looking for my 950 to be realized sooner than later. Okay, finally, just want to glance at the Brave New Coins Liquid Index, which just updates daily, just updated with today's price of 900, 899, which is 900 to me. And again, nothing really different here. Everything looks good. This was the China thing, the double whammy from China. China appreciating their currency unexpectedly, and people got caught on the wrong side of the Bitcoin trade. And then the Chinese regulators talking to the Chinese exchanges. Feels like that's blowing over. I don't know if there was an announcement that came out of that or not, but I'll be paying attention. We'll be doing our Bitcoin news tomorrow. I may or may not be on that because I'm going on a ski trip tomorrow, and it all depends on how good the internet is up there. Whether I'll be doing podcasting this weekend on the World Crypto Network. All right, that's pretty much all I have. I actually got this video done in just over 30 minutes, so that's not bad. Any questions from live viewers? Let me scroll back, see if I see anything here. No, you don't want there to be a compromise. You really want SegWit. A compromise would be bad. It just would be. We have core developers that are smart, that know what they're doing, and you have people that I believe don't know what they're doing. And if you compromise with these people, you lose integrity of Bitcoin. So I don't want to see a compromise. I'd rather see SegWit or nothing. Or I don't know, either SegWit or maybe Bitcoin becomes this high-end, large transaction layer, and Litecoin will take SegWit. Maybe Monero will do something similar. Who knows? Again, I don't have those coins. I don't recommend those coins. I expect SegWit to be adopted. No, there's no alternative that's even remotely close. Nobody wants to see 2 Bitcoins. Now, let me not say that. It feels like a lot of people want to see 2 Bitcoins, but no, I don't want to see a compromise. The core developers know what they're doing. They know they are right, and there's absolutely no reason for them to compromise on it. If Andreas is optimistic that SegWit would be approved in a couple of months, good for him. I'm not as optimistic. I'm thinking maybe into the summer. But this is the thing. This is what I try to explain. I got into this big argument with who else? Krista Rose and Junsef about EMH and about speculation. As a trader, and I think I'm going to write this up, and this is the perfect chart. Actually, not this. Let me go back here. Let me go to the halving, right? Here's where the halving took place. In July, early July was the halving. The price started to pump right off of this triangle, by the way, and I love my triangles. The price started to pump back in May. And I was talking about this May price pump and all throughout. Go back to the World Crypto Network videos. Because to a trader, it's not the event, it's the anticipation of the event. So the SegWit pump that's going to take Bitcoin to 1,500 and maybe 2,000, in my opinion, the SegWit pump is not going to come when it's obvious that SegWit is going to pass. The pump is going to come by everyone trying to beat every other trader to the knowledge of the community that SegWit is going to pass. So you kind of iterate backwards here. So that right now, I believe SegWit is like a 25 or 30% support. The moment SegWit creeps up to 40% and maybe 42 and 43, that's when the real speculators say it's going to go to 50, and then it's going to go to 55, and then it's going to go to 60, and then the momentum of SegWit adoption is going to bring SegWit to consensus. Now, this view can be wrong, but it doesn't matter, because the moment the speculator sees the trend of SegWit adoption creeping up, he's not going to wait for the event of the announcement that SegWit is going to get put in. He's going to try and speculate on a price way ahead of time. So the SegWit pump is going to take place at least 6 months before the actual adoption of SegWit. And that is what EMH doesn't really take into account, in my opinion, but this is very, very debatable. So that's what I'm saying. Like, if you wait, anyone that waited for the halving to go bullish on the Bitcoin price, you lost big. The way to profit from the halving is to go long way before everybody else goes long. And so you can imagine this dynamic where's the sweet spot to go long before anybody else goes long, but not too early. So, and that's what's going to happen with SegWit. It's going to have the exact same risk profile as the halving did. I expect the pump of SegWit to hit the top of this channel, but the actual adoption of SegWit will probably take the price back to the bottom of the channel. And this is why I'm expecting the high sometime this summer around August, and we hopefully will go to about 2,000 around August, and then SegWit gets adopted and we crash down to 1,000, and then everyone's going to say how bad SegWit is. It's just the way markets move. And I'm also just speculating here. I don't actually trade Bitcoin, as all of you guys know. All right, question. What do I think of Kim.com? I don't think anything of Kim.com. I don't know. I don't know what he's doing. All I heard is talk. It's like Donald Trump, right? I will bring the jobs back. I will do all this. I will do all that. Trust me. He hasn't done anything yet, right? So it's great. Everyone is hyped up. He's using Bitcoin. He's not using Ethereum, right? So that's a good start. And seems to, obviously, he's a smart guy. He knows what he's doing. But so far, I can't be optimistic about something I don't know what it is. So I'll wait and see. Hopefully, he will help. But whatever he's doing, he's a big picture guy. He does big projects. And whatever it is he's doing, he will need SegWit and he will need Lightning Network. Whatever he's doing, you don't want him doing what he's doing without SegWit and Lightning Network. Trust me. And I don't even know what he's doing. I just know whatever he's up to, he's going to need SegWit and Lightning in order to get it done. And I'm sure it'll be great. No, I'm not sure it'll be great. I hope it's going to be great. but I don't know what he's doing, so I can't speculate on anything. Okay, question. Likely worst case, best case for news from PBOC and short-term impact on price. Okay, here's which one? I guess let's be optimistic, right? Here's the best news. The best news is that the PBOC comes out and it says Bitcoin is not money, it is another asset, and we will keep an eye on your leverage, and we would like you to be more responsible. We want to see an audit. We don't want our citizens getting hurt with you running away with the Bitcoin. We want to see you use some kind of a third party validation that your Bitcoin cold storage isn't being drained, and the regulation protects the consumer without the KYC on the consumer. That's the best case scenario. Probably not going to happen. That's why it's the best case. It's an unrealistic best case scenario. The worst case scenario is that China doesn't like foreigners and they confiscate, they KYC, and they say if you're a Chinese citizen, you can trade on Chinese exchanges. If you can't prove you're a Chinese citizen, we are confiscating your Bitcoin. Too bad. And then we'll sell it to make some money. Those are your best and worst cases. They're both partially unrealistic. As for a realistic worst case scenario is that they don't really like Bitcoin because it's moving money out of the country, and they have a very, very stringent KYC policy. And if you're not a Chinese citizen that they have control of, you can't trade on the Chinese exchanges. The realistic best case scenario would be, I don't even know. They just say we'll wait and see, a wait and see approach. That's a more realistic best case scenario. Though I would like, I actually wouldn't mind if the government comes in and cleans up the whole volume situation and tells them in order to keep Bitcoin prices normalized, you can't have this unreasonable leverage and you can't have zero fee trading. There has to be some kind of a fee to keep all these bots off your system. Again, probably unrealistic. Question about Segwit and Lightning. Is it possible in the future there will be KYC payment channels and only valid participants can make purchases? Absolutely. And that's not going to be a bad thing either. I mean, that's a good thing. That's kind of what you want. You want, at least I want anonymity as a layer on top. And I want full openness as a layer on top. And I want this gray in between zone. Like right now, Bitcoin is not all that anonymous, but it's not all that obvious either. So, but I would love to see a KYC channel on top and an anonymous channel on top, because there are a lot of awesome use cases that involve KYC. And one of them is tax revenue. I would love to know what the government's spending it on, right? That's a KYC from their end. And again, if you're an eBay guy, if you're selling on eBay, you want the KYC channel, right? You don't want anonymous. You don't really want anonymous people. You don't want to send your payment anonymously and give it to someone anonymously on eBay and then not get the goods, right? So there are lots of reasons for KYC channels. I just want my KYC to be not to have government oversight. In my perfect world, you will have this KYC channel in eBay, but the government can't see it, right? So eBay can see it. So eBay has the KYC in order for eBay to know what the hell is going on, but there's no this government oversight on the KYC. Did I learn anything new about Segwit at TNABC? No, I didn't. Mostly because I normally attend all the presentations, but this time I was just making content and talking to people. Also, I would say for my money, there's maybe 5 out of the 50 speakers at TNABC worth listening to, and I've heard them all speak before. So no, nothing new there. There is the Satoshi Roundtable coming up. I'm not invited to that. If anything, that's one of the conferences where you might learn something about SegWit. What will happen to Bitcoin if SegWit and Bitcoin Unlimited don't pass? It'll stay as is. I mean, I don't really have a problem with Bitcoin right now. The transaction malleability is preventing a lot of cool things from being built on top of Bitcoin. It can still go to a very high price as is. In fact, SegWit and Bitcoin Unlimited not passing will show the world that it's very difficult to pass anything remotely controversial in Bitcoin. And it kind of solidifies the fact that Bitcoin, it is what it is, and it's not going anywhere. And we're staying the way it is at 6 transactions a second. And eventually, each transaction would cost upwards of $10 and then $20 and then $30 fee to send a Bitcoin transaction. And you know what? There will be people willing to pay $50, $100. There'll be people willing to pay $1,000 transaction fee. It's all a matter of what you need Bitcoin for. And if a person has the confidence that Bitcoin isn't going anywhere and mining is strong and the payment is uncensored and he needs to move $10 million, he'll have no problem paying $1,000, $5,000, hell, even $10,000 mining fee to move a few $1,000,000. And that's saying a lot. So SegWit not passing is not the end of the world for Bitcoin as a speculator and as a user. The small users will get hurt without SegWit. I mean, the small users will get hurt, but the large users won't. And you want to accommodate both. You want to accommodate large and small. Here's the problem. You can't accommodate, and I've said this years ago, you can't accommodate large transactions and small transactions at the protocol level. I think it's economically current technologically and economically impossible. You have to pick one. If you want to accommodate small transactions, you raise the block size to unlimited, but then forget any kind of major players. Bitcoin will be, your cups of coffee. No one is gonna. I don't think people will be willing to put $1 million on the Bitcoin in savings on the Bitcoin blockchain with an unlimited block size. That's my opinion, because that's too much risk. Because it can get flooded, and there's all these other problems that happen. Block propagation time. There are all these problems, and these problems won't really matter if you're making very small transactions. And anyway, I think it'll be bad. I just think anyway, I think Bitcoin Unlimited is incredibly bad. But you want to accommodate small transactions, fine, but I don't see who's going to be willing to put their savings on the Bitcoin blockchain. Just use it as a medium to go back and forth out of the dollars. I don't even know if that's efficient. And but if nothing gets adopted, now we have the opposite situation where Bitcoin becomes useless for small transactions, but it becomes beautiful for large transactions. And if you're a big player looking to move millions or hide millions or save millions, the Bitcoin blockchain is for you, because no one's going to change the proposition of Bitcoin. All right, a lot of comments here, guys. Oh, wow, got a bunch of questions later on. I'm way behind on the chat. All right, let's see here. Yeah, if you start your questions with a capital word question, it makes it much easier for me to find. Also put question marks in there, much easier to find. Tone, can you share your thoughts real quick on Dash? Do you hold any Dash? I have a whole video coming out about Dash. I already filmed it. It'll be out in about a week or two. An entire hour of me talking about Dash. I don't really want to spoil it here. Oh man, do I hold Dash? That is such a rough question. So I used to hold Dash and I went to sell all of it. It wasn't even much. I went to sell all of it during that prior price pump. And I didn't sell all of it. I just sold like most of it. So I still have some Dash and I have a limit order set and it's hopefully it'll get filled. If not, I'll go down with the ship. It's not even that much Dash, but I was holding Dash because I kind of liked Dash years ago, but now that I've learned a lot more about Dash and I have a whole video coming out about Dash. Again, I have some Dash, but not because I'm interested in Dash, only because I had it from a long time ago and because I'm being cheap. I'm waiting for my limit to hit and then the rest of the Dash will get sold. If you recall the price of Bitcoin, then okay. I don't want to read comments. I just want to get the questions. Do you think with Lightning Network and all the positives of SegWit, with the fix of malleability and more signatures, don't you think there might be another run-up in price? Well, I think the true run-up in price is going to happen because of the anticipation that SegWit is going to solve all of our problems. And the reality is SegWit is not going to solve all of our problems. But the moment the speculative community believes that SegWit will be passed, there'll be a pump. There'll be a SegWit pump. And it will probably come before SegWit gets officially implemented. And then SegWit gets implemented and maybe a bug is discovered or people realize it's not going to solve all of our problems. And the price will probably crash. And as long as the crash stays above the previous pump, we're okay. So if the SegWit pump takes us to 2,000 or 3,000, and then it crashes down to 1,000, beautiful. Buy back at 1,000. That's why you need healthy pullbacks. I keep hearing reading of a $10,000 Bitcoin. Do you really see Bitcoin having $100+ billion market cap value? If so, wouldn't Bitcoin need to be more widely known, accepted into society? No. Well, the second part is no. I do think that Bitcoin can reach $10,000. I think it will reach $10,000 and $100 billion valuation. Do I think it needs to be more widely known and accepted? No, I don't. It doesn't need to be more widely known. People know about Bitcoin when they need Bitcoin. We're all speculators. I'm a speculator. I'm not a user of Bitcoin. God, you have to like seriously convince me to spend my Bitcoin on even a cup of coffee. I don't like using my Bitcoin. But there are people that need to use Bitcoin, and those that need to use Bitcoin will learn Bitcoin and they will have Bitcoin. So it doesn't need to be that widely known at all. All right, question. How likely do you think that one day there will be a mass Bitcoin crypto software wallet hack and hundreds of thousands of people lose everything? Have you been watching TNABC? That was the entire presentation of John McAfee. And I did get John McAfee for an interview, which I haven't yet published because I just got home. That's John McAfee's view. He believes that there will be. I don't believe that there will be. I don't know. I mean, I've heard of keyloggers. I don't know how common they are for cell phones. Just look, guys, be careful what links you click on. And I don't believe there will be this mass because I think it would be dangerous. It would be done in a malicious way to kill the Bitcoin network. And I think only governments have this incentive. So maybe if they decide to do keyloggers, but then there'll be a mass uprising. Not yet, though. I mean, there'll have to be a lot more people caring about Bitcoin in order to do that. I I don't. And here's another reason, right? Is because worrying about that isn't healthy for your portfolio, for your profits. This is my beef with the gold promoters. They've been screaming of, Mad Max world, and your gold will be currency, and there'll be a giant uprising, and the economy will crash, and we'll go back to the 1930s. They may be correct, but how long do you wait? It's been 30 years. I can show you guys articles from Doug Casey where he's telling you in 1982 that gold's going to go above $2,000 and the US dollar is going to crash. That was 1982. It's been 35 years. So considering the possibility that every Bitcoin wallet will just get hacked on this one day and half of the Bitcoin will be stolen by some hacker, planning for that event that may or may never come, and if it comes, everyone is affected equally. So just spread your Bitcoin out, put them on multiple wallets, try to use cold storage, try to use hard wallets, spread it around. If it happens, it happens. But in these kinds of events, if you are lucky and you are the big winner in this event, you become a major target because people get pissed at people that profit when everybody else loses. You think you hate the Rockefellers and all these other conspiracies and all these rich people. You think you hate them, but if you play your cards right, you become them. You become the hated. So sometimes it's good to be part of the crowd, or at least don't be public about it if you make a bunch of money on other people's, on everybody else around you losing. That's kind of my view on things. So I don't worry. I don't share the views of John McAfee. And Paul Pway is addressing all of those issues. So maybe he'll put up a post on it. Let's see what else we got. Do I think China could ever cut off internet access to the West and simply use their superior hashing power to take over the network? No, they wouldn't want to. If China is the Chinese government is very patient. They will just sit and wait for the U.S. to lose its superpower on its own. That's why the U.S. is maybe picking wars with Russia and China. There's absolutely no reason for China to instigate, or Russia. There's no reason for them to instigate against the U.S. because then the U.S. will have global support. They'd rather just sit back and let the U.S. instigate against China and Russia so they get that sympathy support. And China already has most of the mining. If China is a little open to Bitcoin being used as the way it is, then China, by being more of a free market, open market when it comes to Bitcoin, that will do the job. China forcing the issue and actually like cutting off internet to other parts of the world would make China the bad guy. And you really don't want to be the bad guy when you become the global superpower like the US has been for the last 100 years and Britain before that. Yeah, Britain had all these colonies and stuff, but they did bring a lot of education, a lot of technology to the world. So you don't really want to be. It's never a good thing when you take over the world with force. You really want to take over the world with the freedom and economics, and that really helped America. And America set the blueprint for the 20th century global dominance, and they didn't do it with force. They tried to stay away from World War I. They tried to stay away from World War II. I understand there are. I know the circumstances that brought America into those, and they were a bit malicious. But America came late after they already knew who was going to win, and they helped that side win in both wars. So you don't want to take over the world by force. I think there's plenty of examples of it not working. Rome In a way, Rome also took over the world by force, but in a way it didn't, because Rome allowed the regions that they took over, they let them keep their culture, and a lot of other things. So they didn't like enslave everyone like you see in the movies. All right, what else we got? Dash has lots of new development coming, great for merchant. Dash is a centralized system with a million promises. Anyway, I like I said, I have a whole 1 hour video. It'll be posted soon. Just keep a lookout for the podcast called Crypto Scam. All right, looks like the last question. What do you think of Krista Rose and Joseph interview with Open Bazaar Brian Hoffman in the washroom? I haven't seen that interview. I actually took over for them, and I became the host, and it was in the washroom as well. I haven't seen the Brian Hoffman interview. I haven't seen a lot of those interviews. I was doing my own podcasting, though I wasn't live streaming. And all of these videos will be out. I will try to catch them. What do I think of Chris and Josh? Chris and Josh are the worst two people on the face of the earth. No, I don't understand why anyone wants to be friends with Chris and Joseph. All right, guys. On this note, I will sign off. This video has been exactly 1 hour, a little longer than I like it, but you did come with good questions. We're up to 42 viewers now. I know it was 25 viewers when I was doing it earlier. So please go back, watch the videos, leave comments, like the videos. Apparently, it really helps. I will be updating my blog. I haven't even cross-posted the Bitcoin group and Bitcoin news on there. And hopefully I'll see some of you in Toronto in a few weeks, and then some of you in Mexico in about a month. And I'll try and continue doing these videos. I might move the live stream to Exotica as well. Hopefully pick up some more tips. I did like the equipment that they were using for the Exotica stream. And I'm like, looking at all the costs, I'm like, man, if you're going to be a live stream podcaster, you seriously need to upgrade equipment, between having a soundboard and microphones and headphones and a nice recorder and tripods. It's not easy. It's really not easy. And you have to travel with all that equipment. So I'm looking to see if I can pull that off, or whether I really want to put in that kind of time and effort, but I'll try. All right. Continue support, continue watching. Glad you guys, glad so many people came out to the live stream. And I'll see you all, hopefully maybe Sunday night. I will be watching football playoffs, so maybe after that might be a late show. All right, signing off.